The impact of tabletop role-playing games cannot be overstated, and D&D has profoundly enriched not just my personal life, but also my entire creative process. As I work on this map for the Loom Chant project, I'll share how being a game master, world builder, and developing the crucial skill of improvisation have transformed the way I create. Around 7 or 8 years ago, I found myself unable to enjoy any video game. I thought it was just the usual disconnect that happens to gamers when they get older, with the responsibilities of life draining every ounce of energy and finding ourselves alone with no friends to play with. That and the fact that I was just coming off of years of Skyrim, in which I did exciting things such as slow walking to my quest locations, customizing houses and exploring fashion, or even role-playing as a merchant in Whiterun. Just sitting there, with a chest on the ground, getting a hit of dopamine every time an NPC would buy something from me. Yeah, it really isn't in my nature to be a competitive player, so even in games like World of Warcraft, the goal was to find themes that created an emotional connection to my characters, or just collect pets and enjoy the view. For Minecraft, it was the same, and any other game for that matter. So when I realized that no video game can give me the full freedom of creating my own worlds, stories, and characters, I started looking into tabletop role-playing games. When I started digging into what this hobby entails, two options stood out: D&D 5e or Pathfinder. For some reason, I thought it was a better idea to take my time to learn Pathfinder, but soon enough, I realized that it was way too complex for potential new players. The steep learning curve and the mechanically heavy design, at least surface level, didn't really appeal to me either, and seemed to be made more for a tactical type of gamer. Besides, my goal was to also teach the system to other people so they find the magic of this game, and too many mechanics and technicalities would put people off, especially if they weren't really gamers to begin with. So I turned to D&D 5e, a relatively new and improved system focused on encouraging role-playing and storytelling more than on the mechanical elements. The rule of cool was a feature, not a bug that needed to be fixed with rules lawyering. The deeper I delved into this hobby, the more I discovered what a treasure trove of inspiration it is. At this time, my creative pursuits were taking a back seat, and D&D became my only creative outlet. I also am one of the lucky few that immediately found the ideal first group of players: excited, involved, and creative as hell. It was at this time that I learned another extremely valuable piece of information that I still carry with me to this day. Everyone has the potential to be creative, and everyone can shine, but only if they are in an environment tailored to encourage that. You will feel more of this core idea underlying a lot of the stuff that I make and share with you. One story that I will never stop sharing is about one of my players that is not and never was a gamer. A realistic, strong, and pragmatic person working in a demanding environment and doing really grown-up stuff. She gave this hobby a chance and trusted me enough to, in a relatively short amount of time, become comfortable and free in her exploration of what this game could possibly be. At the end of one of our sessions, she took the reins to describe her character leaving the building in which the group was recovering from a pretty traumatic event, sitting down on the steps and pulling out some sunflower seeds while getting lost in thought. Just sitting there staring blankly into the distance and doing a self-soothing activity, trying to process what just happened. It was a highlight that showed me how important it is for us to have the space in which to let loose and connect with stories, how crucial they are for every one of us, and how easily we can find empathy, courage, and creativity if just given the chance. I actually made a sketch of this scene, as I saw it in my head, and here it is. For the past few years, I was fortunate to share moments like these with more people, including a group of kids that are creatively free in ways not even creative adults can be, no matter how hard they try. But the sum of the lessons I took from this hobby and the invaluable experiences that I shared with my players had a massive impact on me when I went back to my creative pursuits. This is how Aileron was born. I did not want to become another designer or another artist that just makes one thing for the algorithm. I wanted to embody some character that fully embraced, beyond any rational thought, the vastness of his power. In this case, a creative powerhouse. Of course, the ideal that this character represents is hard to attain, but I make a daily effort to let it inspire and guide me. Every session, I get a bit closer to fully becoming him. It takes time to break free of the fears associated with being yourself. It takes empathy to understand why your need to embrace your ideal is so goddamn difficult. It takes courage to be unapologetically and truly all that you desire to be and take up space. It takes creativity to look at the magic around you, make it tangible, and share it with others. Inspired by all of my experiences as a human, a creative person, and a game master, I started to realize how much the process I used for this hobby overlaps with my way of creating things I truly care about. The map I'm working on isn't just a common element that I want to add to a presentation for this project that echoes how websites show a map of the business's location. It's part of the rich story I have in mind about who Zack Bloom and Colette Duchant are, their place in the world, and the impact they have on the people around them. Maps are important as a way of anchoring oneself in context. It isn't an accident that a lot of new players and game masters for this hobby feel the need to create maps and rich histories for them. Context makes it clear, and it makes everything real, an anchor in the reality we live in. I went through the same thing, creating a watercolor map for the location of my first campaign with my group. Here it is, weathered and rugged, but I feel it had a real crucial impact on the way in which we approached the game from that point onwards. Now, my project development begins with world building, much like a role-playing game. Loom Chant started as a simple idea. I wanted to make a fashion brand. From that point, I needed context. Who are the owners? What do they do? Who are they impacting, and what's their special offer? These are the typical questions you ask yourself when creating a modern brand. But creating a fashion brand for the modern, real world is boring to me, especially as a project made for Aileron. The people behind this brand were a couple of skilled ex-adventurers that know what their line of work is in desperate need of. The business offer turned into customizable protection apparel for adventurers that don't like to rely on replacing. The mission statement turned into something related to this fictional world, in which practicality and protection is key, with an added layer of personal expression through customizations. The client persona became clear. As a medieval fantasy world in which adventurers of all kinds with different skill sets, needs, and goals require a lot of improvisation and adaptability. The boring act of creating a brand project that fits an oversaturated market and the uniformity of approach and presentation became an act of full creation, allowing me to use many more skill sets than normal. I used my writing, my creative direction, my painting, my design, my storytelling, and my voice to create a full image that I connect with strongly. In more ways than one, I'm a visual artist and designer that starts with writing, not a sketch, and ends with all that you see and hear, not just a painting or logo. And I love that. This is how my fictional hero empowers my creativity. Unbound and vast, it allows me to fully embrace the way in which I create in a world saturated by recipes, best practices, and quick solutions. A freeing approach that gives me the courage to share and hopefully provide value to the few people that I hope to have a positive impact on during my life. And that is in no small part to the experience that D&D gifted me and the immense gratitude I have for the players that trusted me on their own journey through this creative outlet. All of that being said, If your instinct is to think that this way of making and presenting projects takes away from the opportunities that could have been given to me because it's not the way things are done, know what you feel is fear. The power of creativity and imagination is to break molds, reshape and recontextualize our world. We affect core feelings, undermine preconceptions, and enhance the best aspects of the human experience. My responsibility is to offer the world a new perspective from a deeply personal and honest place. The right people will connect and see opportunity. My quest is to be ready when I meet them. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, I'd love to hear how D&D has positively impacted your life. Also, I took the past week and a half off so I can update my website. It has an improved structure and reflects the things I want to fill it up with. You can subscribe to never miss another update, either on here, my website, or even on Patreon, which I recently launched. At the moment, I just want people that are interested in my ramblings and projects to be notified somehow when I post. I hope you join me next time. Goodbye for now.